and welcome to the Safing live stream. It has been a minute since our last live stream, and as I already shared in the Discord, it will probably be a minute until the next one, because sadly next week we got invited to some Red Hat conference thingamajig, and I was not sure if I'm going to attend. I might even see people from the community there, but who knows? Mike, if you're not showing up, I'm absolutely fine. I know we have not talked about it yet, but Mike even suggested he might be joining that event in Austria. That's part of the reason why I'm even thinking about it.
Summer is crazy. All sorts of stuff happening. So yeah.
that is also of course very true. That's also of course very true. Yeah, stuff. We were both on vacation already-ish, at least. You were for vacation for real. I was not for 100% real.
You were on unreal vacation.
Huh?
You were on an unreal vacation.
I had time to fix a lot of things and
get things done.
Exactly, which is also of course important. I mean, yeah, there is still things I would need to get to, but overall it has been an interesting summer so far. So, but I still wanted to keep this up, even though maybe we should have done a summer break. Yeah. Let us know in the comments if you'd rather have us rumbling our thoughts during summer, or maybe do some different formats if you would want to know other stuff throughout the summer months, if it's only one of us, maybe, and stuff like that. And I think I did one already this summer alone. But next time you're on vacation, I think in that week, and again I'm on the Red Hat thing, so in 2 weeks it won't happen. But still, let's get into some topics. Because it was summer and we have not been around so much, I have not asked for questions in advance too much. I think this was only today, so there are no questions which have been unanswered recently.
I have a question.
You have a question?
That's kind of the elephant in the room, like what this
background? It's just getting more beautiful. We are trying our best. I think the acoustics are maybe a little bit worse at the moment, but I think working on the background is a good thing. And
I just realized, is the camera like
tilted,
or is that thing tilted?
No, I think it's my screen that's tilted, which the camera rests on.
Okay, that's interesting.
I know.
Oh, it looks that's a lot better. Almost. Okay.
Great television today.
Oh no, we broke focus. It will focus again.
It will eventually. Eventually.
Yeah.
So it will be a little bit off, and I see it's already 4 people here. It will be a little bit slower unless people are asking us questions. We are a little bit, it's hot in Austria. We have AC in the office, but it is hot in Austria. A lot of people I know have already been in car accidents. Like an unusual amount of people have been involved to different degrees in car accidents this summer already. I think the heat in Europe is getting to people's heads.
It's getting people mad.
Yeah, exactly. And driving like crazy. It is like this around here, so.
I would say normally people in Austria are very careful drivers.
You would not say? Or you would say?
I would say.
You would say?
Yeah, of course. So, not sure if it's just something around the people you know that's happening, because around the people I know, we don't have so many accidents.
My brother was standing at a red light, and some person bumped into his car from the back. So I don't know if it has anything to do with him. The light was red.
But also maybe I live further south, so that may be something that's beneficial to, further away from the city, less heat, less crazy people.
Less crazy people. Okay. then give us an update. What do you, I guess, if people are joining in, most of the time questions are resolving around Portmaster, are resolving around features, SPN, and stuff like that. I've seen 2 updates in the PM release channel on Discord.
Well, yeah, a couple of them, and there will be more.
Yeah, sure. But I think too it was yesterday. I know.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a couple of days. I had a couple of them. None of them made it to beta because we're still
testing a lot,
investigating issues. So because this next release that will hit beta will have the new UI in there. So
new UI engine.
New UI engine. So what will be new is you will notice a couple of things around the UI that is different. It will be faster. The kind of Troy icon is now part of the UI, not a separate thing. So in beta you have 2 Troy icons. If you launch the app, you can just exit the old one. But we don't have so much control over the environment that we can just turn things off just for beta users. Because that's a separate component that would have to reconfigure Windows depending on the channel you are, and not doing that. But
not worth the effort because it should be in beta a little bit longer. But we expect you beta users to know what's going on and to help yourself at least a little bit, or know where to ask for help. So please join the Discord. Link in the description.
And you'll notice that if depending on kind of what light dark mode kind of theme you have on your Windows machine, the icons will actually react to that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's a giveaway that you're using the new UI engine.
Yeah. And people have been asking for this for the longest time because, of course, most of us around here like dark mode. I guess you can imagine that. Actually, Danielle uses GitHub in light mode for some crazy reason.
So crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so crazy. Every time it hurts my eyes when I look at your screen. So exactly. So most of the time everything is dark mode. But if you have Windows in light mode, we know that on the taskbar, the white icon on the blue-ish.
Real white, also white-ish.
White bluish, exactly. Okay. Background. It's very bright. So you cannot see the icon. You can see the green dot, or the red or the blue dot or whatever, but it is a little bit less easy to get the. I can see the icon, and so this will now adapt. Cool, very cool.
So that's nice. That will simplify also kind of other things regarding the UI. We don't have to ship huge ass Electron anymore, which is amazing. Think a little faster, use less resources at the same time, and so on. The other thing that kind of we're attempting to push at the moment,
and because people have been asking if you have cleaned out your Windows, for instance, you already said we're aware that some people are deleting Edge or are deleting WebView stuff. We are checking this. You said.
Yeah. So if
during the installation.
Well, with the new installer that's already in progress, it will install WebView. That's kind of the Microsoft own engine for that kind of stuff. It will install that, and as far as we could figure out, you're not able to uninstall that because it's a Windows component. So I'm not sure if kind of people making changes to their Windows install are able to uninstall it.
I think they can. Okay. I mean, I'm using the.
That's possible.
Titus.
Yeah, it'll just give you a notification like, you need that.
Yeah. And it's a dependency.
Yeah.
Because we're not shipping Electron anymore.
Yeah, a lot of apps are switching from Electron to that, so chances are you'll need that anyway.
Yeah. I'm just wanting to, I'm using the Chris Titus tech tool to clean out a lot of things from the ISO of Windows itself.
Okay.
And so, I mean, he gives the he gives you the option to not ship any browser with it, and he's like, you will need some USB thumb drive or something to move an browser installer on this, otherwise you have no way on accessing the internet, even though you're connected technically.
Well, isn't Winget like on it by default now?
That is true. Yeah, and you can use the tool. You're right, and you can use, but you need to get the tool. Yeah, you're right.
You can just
maybe
use
Winget
on the command line, the PowerShell, to just do install
some browser. Yeah, but you need to, of course, then know how that works, and you can get rid of the Microsoft Store as well, which puts like then you don't have any UI for stuff like that. So yeah, there are options to get all of that. Sure.
Yeah. That was.
But those
one
people.
Thing. So the news. So because Rafa mentioned the Rhetori, that's the framework we're using.
Yeah.
Now, and behind the scenes that uses WebView 2, which is a web runtime provided by Microsoft, so we don't have to ship Electron anymore.
Which makes, as you said, the process load lower if you run the UI, and it reduces the size of the whole installer.
Yeah, it's smaller, it's faster, uses less resources. So
super cool.
Win-win-win. That's why we're doing it. And also kind of, it's part of the whole effort to make everything regarding Portmaster simpler, regarding the whole deployment and installation, everything, development. So in the future, we're planning to be able to build everything within the GitHub CI too. So it will be a lot easier also to contribute and to work as a community on Portmaster and everything in that direction. And so the second thing we're currently trying to get out into beta, which we're still having small issues here and there, is a new module structure. The one we've previously used, probably was too feature rich. And it was cool and nice, but it was also not that easy in parts, and was built for kind of a different type of interaction. And the new system is simpler, easier, a bit more verbose, but it's a lot easier to understand it and to get into it, and to kind of add more modules into it. So you can do like changes to it easier, and stuff like that. So it will also help in getting more of the community on board with Portmaster development, and kind of trying to kind of build out the community in that area.
Yeah, making it easier. And I guess this is like all happening on GitHub the same way like the community profiles are stuff that's happening on GitHub. And if you have not checked out the community profiles, last month tons of new community profiles were able to make it into this section. Link is in the description. If you have cool set configurations for apps, let us know. Also, you can learn a lot about how to build community profiles on there. Some of them can need some touch-up and improvements. I guess like because some of the apps are not in the program data, but in the user folder, changing that into a regex. If you're like, and I think wasn't there last time I tried to show that. So last live stream, you can see the regex thingamajig, how to use that, and to get rolling. And I've seen a couple of people asking on the Discord about why isn't Portmaster like scanning your hard drive and adding all the exes into that list. And of course, like Portmaster is not scanning your hard drive. That's one of the things. It only shows you like processes and their like associated files when they show up in the network stack. but you can create, and that's partly what the platform, the user profiles are for. You can create the profile in advance. Of course, it needs to match the process in a way. And regex is a super easy path to do that. But again, you need to sort of like know what you're doing. But if we hope we made this already very self-explanatory to look at it and understand what it's about. And you can load it into Portmaster and then tweak it inside Portmaster, which is also then with a GUI fairly easy. So you don't have to do it with the YAML file, but also you already see what you're loading into Portmaster in advance. And I guess fairly well. So take a look. And with both of those, so one, I guess the user profile is more user-centric. And if you're not a programmer, that's already something you can get into and get involved. And if you're a programmer, Daniel wants to make your life easier.
So.
And actually, another Austrian, I think, have you seen that? Somebody created an issue where he wanted to know, have a guide and wanted to understand how to build Portmaster.
So
that guy was from Austria.
Really?
Yeah.
But that's already become a lot easier.
Yeah.
We now
the Earth file.
Yeah, we switched to a build system called Earthly. Which they describe kind of what if a Docker file and a make file had a baby. That's pretty much what it is. So it has multiple targets and kind of runs Docker containers from containers and kind of has this dependency system in there. So that's really nice for building all sorts of stuff. And we're not 100% there, but we now build everything in there already. And there are some things that don't work 100% in there. So what we have, for example, is building the Windows kernel extension works to some extent. We still have to kind of move the build package to Windows machine to finish linking and signing. So there's still a manual step in there, but it's already a lot easier with that process to follow. Of course, we have to upload that to Microsoft to let them sign it because it's a kernel driver, and kernel drivers are all signed by Microsoft themselves. They want to check everything before they want to see it on their systems before anything goes anywhere else.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I was reading Rocky. Great to read from you as well as Mike J is also here. So hello.
Hey.
And because I was reading both of those, did you say like that person actually has a forked or an modified Windows version where he was able to self-sign kernel drivers as well?
Yeah, you can do that if you really like to live dangerously.
Yeah.
You can enable self-signing for your Windows installed, and kind of you can self-sign the driver for your own machine.
Yeah.
If you really, really, really want that, you're a guest.
And for development purposes, probably not a bad idea because
that's how development works.
The EV signature stuff that costs money, real money, and it's not just for jokesies and lolsies. I think the process is cumbersome to get it and then to sort of like
use it
and everything. Yeah, it's a process again. So I understand if that other Austrian guy who did not actually wanted to meet us. I don't know. If he's watching, please reach out.
Probably is very privacy conscious. I don't know.
True.
It could be that the people we're talking to kind of have that to them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Weird, right?
See that I think last year, and this is the reason why I did not do it this year as well. I asked people if they wanted to do a meetup in during the summer and stuff, and the response was very mid. I'd say no, it was actually poor.
Okay.
So because we know there are a couple of people at least in the German-speaking area here, but as you're saying, like as cool as you all are online, you don't want to meet us in person, which is
that's okay.
That is super okay. That is super okay. but it was fun to sort of like ask that last summer, and this summer it just didn't bother because I was like, okay, good, probably won't happen either.
Yeah.
So I don't fancy too much sitting in a Starbucks waiting on no one to show up. So.
Yeah,
that's
so
just me.
Where were we? We were talking about the update. So that's I think that's the two things we now have in the big things in the pipeline that we want to get on the beta as soon as possible, kind of to get more testing in there. What is already a bit longer in beta is the new kernel extension. Which seems to be working very, very well until now. So we're happy to see that. If anyone experiences issues, blue screens, anything unstable, please switch to beta. Check out if that works for you.
And then bear with us with all the UI things we're currently pushing.
So there are a couple of things evolving now, big things, and so what's left for kind of all this stability package? Two things. One thing is the new installer. The new installer means we'll have installers that are by default offline capable. So kind of switching the whole system, how we do installers, that will be offline capable, and with that will be a slightly changed update system. So currently we have a update system that's geared towards automatic updates, and the next one will be a bit simpler, a bit easier, a bit more lax. And so with that, we'll be able to fully support any immutable distros.
We think.
We think, and we will work towards that. So NixOS, Fedora, Silverblue, and so on will be a lot easier to support. I don't think we will be creating the packages for that.
Exactly. That's the caveat, because before people, especially NixOS cards, are like,
I think we have a good follower base on both of these systems. So we hope that someone will pick this up and be like, I'll create a package for that. And I'm not sure about how, like NixOS especially works.
There are two people at least working currently on it. And when I told them that we're switching into an offline model, they were excited. So,
but does NixOS have kind of a community package repo like the AOR?
I have no clue.
Okay, me neither.
And I did not, and we are not looking into it. That's them, and I think they have it in their repository.
And if everything looks good, we can look into if there's anything we can do to support them, and to make this package available to more users more easily. So that's something we can look into on a case-per-case basis. So that's kind of the new installer, new update system. That's the one thing. And then the other thing that we're looking into is the underlying database engines used by Portmaster. Currently, we are using two systems. We're using a NoSQL database and an SQLite database. And the NoSQL database has been working fine. But it's a bit harder to handle. Also, it's not as common. So we're planning to move everything to SQLite databases, even if we'll be using kind of JSON in there. And we're to some extent going to be using them as NoSQL databases, but they're a lot easier to handle, easier to debug, easier to keep small. Currently, databases can grow up to a gigabyte, and that was uncomfortable for some of the users. So we're trying to kind of optimize there, make it more stable, make it smaller, faster. That's the idea behind all that. And with the new database and the new installer, these two are things that we can't just roll out like that. These two things will require a reinstall, a new version. We've talked about that a while ago. That will be version 2, not version 2 because we have created new features, because version 2 because it's incompatible from a installation point of view. We will provide a migration, so you kind of will uninstall Portmaster, then you'll uninstall the new version, and it will migrate your data and your config and everything, migrate that to the new version. So that's how that will work in the future. So,
and it will be an easy process.
And kind of that's kind of this whole stability thing has our priority, because when we got that done, it will be a lot easier to then speed up development, because we've removed a lot of baggage. And then we'll be able to move a lot faster. Which is kind of the hint to the sync feature we promised a while ago, and that got sidetracked because it, so many of the tasks took too much time. We're like, we have to fix this first. We have to become more stable, easier, and everything, and then we can go back and focus on user-facing features. Which of course, these stability features are also user-facing, but they're not kind of features in a
you should not
more
feel them.
Capability sense, but features in a stability, deployability.
Especially like with the
sense.
offline installer. Right.
So we're trying to get kind of it into more places, more stable, faster first. Also more stable for us to work on, easier for us to work on. We will a lot easier to release updates and everything in that regard. So,
from several minutes ago, Rocky said, "I really trust you guys. You're a life changer. I love Portmaster is the best offer for, I guess, a good life." Thank you, Rocky. Love the encouragement. Also, that you're saying you installed it on other people's PC. Super great. That is, that's cool. That's like spreading privacy again, like from Firewalls Don't Stop Dragons, forgot his name, says like, or a couple of people, privacy is always a we thing. So getting more privacy to more people is always super good. And Qued AGI, I'm like saying that you're being like, confused or like hurt by stuff being moved behind a paywall. I think we never moved something behind a paywall.
There was never a feature that was first free and then behind a paywall.
Never. Not sure what you think about, but this was never a feature in Portmaster.
Add new features
behind the paywall,
which were convenience features, not privacy features behind a paywall, because development is really, really, really expensive. And if nobody pays us, we'll have to stop. That's just the truth. And donations don't work. That's very clear. Look up all open source kind of ideas on how to fund open source. Donations don't work. That's pretty much proven. And the only way is to have a business model that will actually work. And that's our attempt at doing that while being as ethical as possible to somehow do this. And we hope that people see that, and we hope that people see that this is a lot of work. We've been into this 7 years now, and we received, you can look all this up on the homepage. We've received a lot of grants, we've taken up loans with them, and we're trying kind of to work our way through that. And it is really expensive to build software, to build high quality software. Well, we definitely believe Portmaster is. And we hope that everyone sees that and chips in to make this sustainable.
And of course, privacy is important, being free. That's part of the reason why, what you already hinted at, it's the model is privacy is free, convenience is a little and then
of course,
SPN as a service
is a huge cost thing
as well. Yeah.
Because if you're using 3 servers instead of 1,
3 times.
Guess
the cost.
what?
Yeah,
3 times the cost.
That compared to a VPN, that's what you're hinting at there. And also Sergio said that's very cool. I think you're referring to all that stuff that Daniel was talking about earlier. Sergio, thank you for chipping in and letting us know what your thoughts and feelings are. So always good to get feedback and understand what our users are about. Again, privacy is our thing, so we don't have analytics and we don't know what people are actually using, and we're always reliant on feedback and people telling us, well, I use this feature or I don't use this feature, I don't care. And part of what why we're currently sort of like with the sync feature also a little bit more lax is because people are not dying for this feature at the moment, or at least we don't see people too much demanding it, but we see people are being like, we had some issues, especially people with tons of torrents, even if they're not using SPN probably, but just the kernel extension had issues with too many of those torrent connections. And we're talking not one torrent you're downloading. It has been, like, as far as we can tell, those have been people with tons of torrents. And sometimes if they started one after the other, everything worked. But if it has been too much traffic hitting the network stack at once, the kernel extension panicked and blue screen.
Well, it was weird.
It is weird, but the new kernel extension works with this now.
It's a culmination of events. It's not just that the kernel extension said, I'm done here. Yeah. But it's kind of within the interaction with Windows and everything, things got weird.
Exactly. And that's partly the reason why we looked at this first, because there have been complaints. People have been telling us that this is an issue. And so that's why we're focusing on that stuff first. So if you tell us, and of course offline installers as well as immutable distros, and we're hearing cries for ARM more and more. Yes, we're hearing those people. Even though I'm with Odin on the Discord, where I think he used too strong language. I think that there will be more ARM devices in the future, and it will be a major platform that we will have to support. But yeah, ARM is like Windows and ARM. If you've tried it and are doing anything that's not just browsing the internet and some basic stuff, you are still much more comfortable with using x86. So yeah. Yeah, but we're seeing this, we're seeing where the people are going, we're reading all the comments. And if a GitHub issue is created and closed, I will have seen this issue anyway and stuff like that. But chime in if you saw a GitHub issue with the same thing that you experienced as well. Just write something below it, even if it's closed. Just write something below it. I monitor everything and I see all of those things. Exactly because we don't get reports from Portmaster installations. We don't know what systems you're running on. How many weird distros use Portmaster.
and kind of mingled Windows installs where things are missing and everything like that.
We have no clue. Which is why I said...
That's kind of the report we get. So, hey, this is a Windows installation, but things are failing for very weird reasons. Yeah. I wonder why.
This is a clean install. Clean install, and the Windows firewall protocol over 100 entries, and I'm like, yeah, this is not a clean install. You know, you're doing stuff to your Windows that your Windows does not like, and Portmaster is just one of the places you're seeing it. But you destroyed your Windows first. Mike said, "Strong resources are never free." Yeah, you're right. Again, like we are, I think, doing a good split in regards to what Portmaster provides for free and what Portmaster then actually charges for. And I think some people have been asking, well, then why isn't there a fork where everything is free? And I guess that programmers who could do that understand that programmers need to be paid, you know?
Yeah, so, and it's even maintaining something like that is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so It's not as easy as it sounds.
Yeah. So that's part of it. And we appreciate. So many people on the Discord have the blue name thingamajig. So I know that they're SPN subscribers, Portmaster Pro subscribers. So cool to see all of that. It's so cool to see it growing and getting more and more people on there. So thank you if you're watching and if you're a Pro subscriber or Plus, or Rocky who's installing Portmaster on different machines. Thank you. This is helping. Sergio said, will Windows 10 be supported after the end of life, or will we need to update to 11? We have supported Windows 7
for a while. Yeah.
For a long while after.
The main issue with Windows support isn't what we like or like not to do. It's about the kernel driver.
Yeah.
So everything else is not an issue. Like, it's just running processes, but it's the interface to the kernel where things change and where incompatibilities are created. So I think we are currently compatible with Windows. I think is it 8 or 10? I'm not sure.
Yeah, 10 of course.
Yeah, and we'll have to both check. But
and you can do a workaround still to get Portmaster running on Windows 7 and 8. You can open the UI in the browser, and it should work.
No. It's not about that anymore. It's really with the new kernel extension.
With the new kernel extension that we're now pushing, but the current, if you're just installing Portmaster
right now,
it would still work.
It would still work on Windows 7. That's true.
So,
but with the new kernel extension, which will go into stable sometime soon, we used more modern interfaces that were better.
Which are not present in Windows 7.
Which don't exist in Windows 7, which raises the requirement to either Windows 8.1 or 10. I'm not sure right now. We'll have to check that. But Windows 7 is really old. And I can imagine that.
And Sergio is only asking for Windows 10. He's not asking for Windows 7.
So, but as long as we don't make big changes
to the kernel
extension, that will stay.
And of course,
and I think the stuff we're using is quite stable at the moment.
Yeah.
So I don't expect any more incompatibilities at the moment.
Yeah.
So it should the things how they're now in beta, that should work for a lot of years.
Yeah. I mean, Windows 10 I think is end of life in 2 to 3 years or something. It's still a little bit of time left. But I would assume that it would work for Windows 7 is now end of life for 5 years.
Isn't it more?
Maybe it's more. But so I would assume, seeing how Microsoft moves, that this would be true for Windows 10 as well. And again, I don't want to make any promises that we will keep two kernel extensions supported. One for 10 and one for 11 when 10 has been end of life. And again, with software that's end of life, that's unfixed 0 days, that's unfixed whatever, backdoors over backdoors, because people have time to find those things and don't have to be scared that it will be patched. That's why using end-of-life software is not recommended. And I understand, Sergio, I guess you're partly also concerned about the ads that Windows is pushing in Windows 11. You're concerned which Portmaster blocks, but you're probably also concerned about all the tracking and the requirements and stuff like that, always on. You look into stuff like the Chris Titus Tech Tools, Micro 11 thingamajig, where you can extract some of that stuff before installing Windows. I think that would be my recommendation, at least partly here. But yeah, I understand cutting out so much of an operating system. I'm just curious how long people in the privacy community will stick around for that. And privacy is important for everybody, so we will keep continuing supporting Windows. but continuing in like for indefinite people who are on a very old, and again, not Windows 10, not in the next 5 to whatever, how many years. But Windows 7, I think, is at this point where people should really move on. And so that's partly the reason why we don't pour resources into trying to stay compatible with Windows 7 at this point. But yeah, try looking into alternatives if you don't like where Windows is going, and maybe start thinking about what you actually need and how you need it and stuff like that. If you're a gamer, SteamOS has moved a lot of things, so gaming is not that much of an issue anymore. And yes, the Microsoft Office suite is very much missing on Linux. So if you like that, there are alternatives, but they're not as good. And some other pro tools. But maybe start looking into it. And I think 2 easy recommendations would be Pop! OS, especially when they now move to their new Cosmic desktop.
Yeah, so probably in half a year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or Fedora. Fedora is very stable as well. I know Mike is currently writing on the Discord, so Sergio, if you're not reading the Discord as well, Mike is there. I think Mike is using Fedora. I like Fedora. And there are a couple of us who would say that this is, at least on Linux, a very stable option. And again, I'm on the Red Hat thingamajig in 2 weeks, so maybe I will see some Fedora people there as well. Mike J says, Windows is forcing mandatory updates from 10 to 11 on 2 of my machines. Okay, you like forcing, and you probably have a TPM, because otherwise they could not, Mike.
Just uninstall the TPM, then you're good.
No, but for real, if it's just a software TPM, Ryzen processors, it is a software TPM.
Oh, you can just disable it in
virtual.
BIOS.
You can disable it in the BIOS.
That's cool.
On Ryzen CPUs, if it's not a laptop, where I'm not sure if you can get those BIOS settings, but you can disable the TPM. But again, a TPM is a good thing as well, a trusted platform module. It is a separate part of storage, and there are some keys in there already pre-generated and stuff like that. A TPM is not a bad thing to have.
Yeah, it's actually quite cool.
Yeah.
If it's implemented correctly and safeguarded correctly and all that stuff, which is lots of hardware problems, things, too complicated to cover now here.
But I had to learn it from my CSSP, so.
I heard there's kind of a news update about something happening today. Today. Something where Portmaster will be included.
Okay, you're talking about, because the fun thing was, I think 3 weeks ago or something, I've been at a CISSP barbecue in Vienna, and when I was there were, and of course it's Austria, so German magazines there, technical magazines, and one of the big ones around here is CT. I don't know what it stands for. Computer Tech?
I don't know.
Whatever. And we have been in one CT, like Portmaster has been, and featured on the cover of it.
Yeah, it's pretty much the biggest German-speaking computer magazine.
Yeah, and Portmaster has been featured on the CT a month ago or something, 2, 3, whatever. Has been a while. And we're back in it. So, because Rocky was asking for like optimization tools, CT has as a headline feature a toolkit for Windows with different things, and Portmaster is one of the 4 tools they're recommending. So where they go into the thing, I think Sandboxy was one of the others, Portmaster was one of them, and the other 2 I cannot recall, but it was like, at least to the people who are subscribing to the PDF thingamajig version of it, it's released today, and we are always getting emails from people who know us who are like, I've seen you in the CT again, and then sometimes people are like posting photos of it. So you're right.
Yeah. Like also like
I was not sure where you were going with the CSSP though.
Releases kind of magazines and kind of articles in German always spark interesting emails from people demanding Portmaster to be in German too, which it isn't, unfortunately.
But the Wiki is. The Wiki now is. The Wiki, it has been translated to German, not by us, but it has been translated to German. If you find anything, I mean, I can proofread it as well, but the Wiki is fairly extensive. And you're right, people are always like, why isn't it in German? But yeah, well, you all understand English, and not so many people understand German. So yeah, the likelihood that somebody who speaks German understands English is higher than the other way around. Mike says, when either of you two get a chance, send the link from the magazine recommending Portmaster. Yeah, sure. I can also, I think I have it on my Mastodon. Here is the handle for my Mastodon. The last time I posted a picture of the magazine, like the physical one. No, it's not up there anymore. Okay.
It's gone.
I used to have it like in arm's reach, but it's not. Yeah, and I will post probably. I will buy it again. Bought 2 copies of the last time Portmaster has been in it. Probably buy 2 copies again. Fun thing, last time they wrote about Portmaster, they have not reached out. We were blindsided by it being featured in there. This time, they reached out and in advance, and they were asking what's coming up, what new features will be coming, and so forth. Have not seen the article though, so it is out today. So other people have read it. I have not read it yet, so I have no clue. So no editorial, whatever thingamajig, but at least they were asking in advance.
That's pretty cool.
we sort of knew they are writing on something. And this has been, just from a timeline perspective, if people are curious, this has been, I think, 1.5 or 2 months ago that they asked. So, and now it has been released. So, and yeah.
It takes time.
Everything takes time. When I was on TV, I think it was 9 months between the recording.
That was crazy.
And it being aired, and so we were in a completely different headspace, and people were like, oh, I saw you and you talked about this and that, and I'm like, this is so
they were like, you have to pretend it's like this and this month of this and this year, like remember that, and do like what? It just reminded us of how much of TV is just fake. Fake show.
Exactly.
But also the cuts they did, and like, they just did mid-sentence cuts and kind of almost changed the meaning of what you said and everything. Terrible. Terrible. TV.
But of course, also German TV, which I don't know.
Probably none of you watch anyway. But
hopefully,
it was an interesting experience.
It was
definitely so.
Super cool. I guess we have moved through most of the topics, so and most of the questions. If anybody has follow-up questions, please write them into the chat right now. Otherwise, I would start to wrap up. We're almost at the 50-minute mark, and at the full hour, we would want to stop. But if it's a little bit earlier, I guess it's summer. It's hot. Get some ice cream.
Exactly.
Probably not today though. Had too much sugar recently. But maybe then, while we're waiting on questions, do you have a recommendation what to do if somebody wants to visit Austria and have some, I don't know. And this is spontaneous, so he did not prepare an answer.
Well, I think, so one of the things that you can easily miss, so of course we have Vienna with all the kind of beautiful buildings, historic stuff and everything. But what I also really like is the mountains. And there are a couple mountains that there's actually a train going up, kind of with gears on the bottom, so you can actually like do like very steep tracks, or take like a gondola.
Cable car.
Cable car up and stuff like that. So there's a couple like.
You don't have to walk.
Yeah, there are a couple mountains you can actually go up in some way of a motorized travel, and that's of course if you can and willing, just go up. But if not, just being up there it's just amazing. Yeah,
I guess
so. That's what I love.
Yeah. I guess what people need to know is, especially I think Americans, and I assume that most people watching are not from the States, but the one thing they know about Austria, except for some media stuff, is the sound of music, which I've never seen.
True. Me neither. That's kind of the thing that always comes up. Oh,
exactly.
That's
which I've never seen. But I've heard that it's only about the mountains, and of course some music stuff, because Mozart and Strauss and others are like famous musicians are from Austria. So Beethoven. Yeah. Mike says, please do tell us more about Austria. I have airline ticket alert set up. Gonna miss the Red Hat conference this time. Okay, well then, maybe in the future. If you have other stuff, I'd say taste our sweets if you're in Austria. We have I wanted to say coffee culture here. So we
do have a coffee culture.
Yeah, and coffee house culture. So it's super interesting. I recently, if people know the podcast 99% Invisible, from there, so wanted to clarify what my sources are. I learned that shopping malls are actually invented by an Austrian guy. Based on the shopping streets in Vienna. So because Vienna always had those little cafes and those small shops and in a street and with trees and stuff like that, we still have some of those. We have shopping malls though. And when he moved to the States, it was way too hot to do something like this. And also all the streets are much wider and stuff like that. They have not been built in the same way as Vienna has. And so what he wanted to is recreate this small and with cafes and everything thing in the States. And so he enclosed it and air conditioned it so that it's actually bearable.
Interesting.
Our climate is much more okay. I'm saying it's hot, but it has 25 degrees Celsius outside. So,
well, that's not outside. That's here, and we're kind of in a semi-air conditioned room.
Yeah, the window is open.
Yeah, it's definitely hotter outside.
Yeah, but so it is fairly okay.
So that's if we talk about degrees, it's Celsius, not Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
I think 30 degrees Fahrenheit.
It's cold.
It's nothing that anyone would classify as hot.
No.
Just
no, 20, 25.
We're not in the Arctics here. It's not there. That might be hot. I don't know. Yeah.
So I guess if you're like Mike, if you come to Austria, also let us know. If anybody is visiting, I think I shared this in the past. I have been visited by a couple of people from the community over the years, and it's always been great. Had pizza with one, coffee with another. Again, reach out, let us know in the Discord or via mail. Just write at hello@safing, and we can schedule something. Austria, interesting place, interesting
Definitely.
people.
Yeah. Of course, we here now are not in a very representative area of Austria because we're at the point where the Alps end. So I can see right over there that's pretty much the end of the Alps.
Yeah.
And it's kind of flat here with a small bump, and then it's flat Hungary. But we are kind of at the northeast tip of the Alps.
Yeah.
So
look at
with Vienna being the actual tip.
Super cool. Okay then. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you for
being fun.
Yeah.
See you in 4 weeks this time, because 2 weeks there's other stuff going on.
Yeah, Red Hat again. If you're in Red Hat Vienna, the thingamajig on the 5th of September, let me know. Write me an email or just walk carefully up to me and say hello. I don't know.
You probably won't be wearing a safing t-shirt. But
no, I have one, but I probably won't be wearing it.
You may be wearing a CSSP pin.
Oh, that I might be wearing. I got the pin, I think, 3 weeks ago or something. Yeah, not sure. Okay. Other than that, again, thank you for everybody who is supporting us.
Yeah.
If you don't know how, don't know where, there are links in the description. Again, it does not have to be financially, as Rocky is doing, like sharing Portmaster, getting more people to be more private. That's already like a support for the community and for all of us. And yeah, let us know. You can also support us by letting us know what you use and what you see is working and is not working. Mm-hmm. Both very helpful.
Yeah.
Live stream 3 or 4 times ago, somebody from I think Japan told us that actually S-Pen works great for him. We have heard contrary in the past as well. So
really difficult to like
exactly. But telling us that it works for you also is cool for us to know, because we have zero clue if you're not telling us. So thank you everybody for
and whoever is kind of willing to get their hands a bit dirty, it would be awesome to get more people onto the beta, test the new features, give us feedback, tell us what works or not. If anything is broken, you can either just revert to stable. If you still can, do that in the UI or the JSON settings file.
And we can help you with that.
And if anything else fails, you can just uninstall without removing the data and reinstall, and you're all good again. There's multiple paths back to stable in case really anything breaks, but that's exactly what we need you for, because we really don't want to push another like that to stable, because we're not CrowdStrike. We actually have a staging environment and a beta environment. We don't push to production on Fridays.
Okay. After that, I wish you all a great afternoon or morning, wherever you are, or nights, I don't know, wherever you are in the world. And
have a nice remainder of the day.
Exactly.
And see you in 4 weeks.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.